Howdy folks, it's Mangy Fetlocks. I'm trying to do a song that I wrote about 20 years ago. Yeah, it's hard as heck. And but I'm going to give it my best shot. I thought you might enjoy it. It's a cautionary tale of sorts called Catch the Anvil, Win a Wolverine. Catch the anvil, win a Wolverine. Should've known that sounded too good to be true. Now I feel compelled to share my shame and tell my tale of woe, so the lesson that I learned can be passed on to you. Well, my first time in the city, I was just a naive fool, quite a target for the cons who cheat and lie. I was with my girlfriend Kitty when I passed a curious sign, which I read aloud as I was passing by. When I read that sign, I took it as a chance to test my skill, and quite frankly thought it couldn't be too hard. Though I knew that catching anvils isn't for the faint of heart, but enthusiasm put me off my guard. Catch the anvil, win a Wolverine. Should've known that sounded too good to be true. Now I feel compelled to share my shame and tell my tale of woe, so the lesson that I learned can be passed on to you. Now the man who put the sign up was as friendly as could be. He explained for just $5 I could see if I was the type of hero who could catch 200 pounds of cold steel when dropped straight down to me. Some folks ask me why the heck I paid $5 to that man. Some say you're about the dumbest thing we've seen. But it just so happens ever since I was a little boy, I have always longed to own a Wolverine. After plunking down 5 big ones, I stood gazing at the sky as the man who took my money pointed there at an airplane, which he told me held the object I must catch. And I got a hint this contest wasn't fair. Well, the airplane door flew open and I saw the anvil drop, and I did my best to catch it, which I did. It was just like catching Ethel, my old girlfriend on the farm, who jumped from the hayloft back when we was kids. I must say that when I caught the weight, the man was about struck dumb, and he stood there with a look of great surprise. As I handed him the anvil, he turned an ashen gray, and I knew I probably wouldn't get my prize. Seems the anvil man was poor of health and pretty scrawny too, with a major case of brittle bone disease. And 200 pounds of iron was much more than he could bear, for the weight broke both his arms and cracked his knees. While transporting in the ambulance, the crushed entrepreneur pulled me close and stuffed $5 in my shirt, which was pretty hard for him since his arms had snapped like twigs and, from what I knew, quite likely really hurt. Just before he met his maker, he told me there and then, in his 30-year-long anvil drop and run, he had seen a lot of idiots who had tried to win the prize, but as far as doing it, I was the only one. With tears of shame, he told me that there was no Wolverine, since he figured that no one would ever catch the 200 pounds of cold steel dropped from a passing plane. But today, it seems he'd finally met his match. The anvil guy was buried with his anvil by his side in the most magnetic grave I'd ever seen. And the lesson which I learned is, while you may think that you have won, very seldom do you win a Wolverine. Catch the anvil, win a Wolverine. Should have known that sounded too good to be true. Now I feel compelled to share my shame and tell my tale of woe, so the lesson that I learned can be passed on to you. Not all of that story is true. Thanks for listening.